Hey folks, today is June the 26th. It's currently 8:35 in the afternoon. We're going to look at doing our Titan G7 week number 14 update review. And let's get over to the review page here. All right, in this video, we will be checking for updates in the Telegram group. We'll also check on news at Forex Factory, as well as we'll go into the Facebook group and see if there are any updates. And as I mentioned last week, we will also take a look at the webinar and a few of the updates that they gave us in the webinar. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this week's results, and we'll also jump into the VPS momentarily so we can see what happened there. All right, so as you guys can see, we definitely took a hit this week from $277 in profit down to about $160 in profit. So we definitely lost quite a bit. As I've said before, I'm not using any of this right here when it comes to FX Blue, because obviously this was a losing week, but FX Blue is reporting some crazy stuff here. Weekly return 2.1%. Obviously that's not the case, so we're just going to focus for now on this over here. And as you can see, definitely took some heavy losses this week. All right, actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the VPS so we can see exactly what happened. All right, so we are now in the VPS, as you guys can see, and we're down to $660. We did start with a $500 account, so we are still in profit overall, but like I said, we definitely took a hit this week, and we also have several trades open going into the weekends. You guys can see here, currently up a little bit. And we go to account history. I think the first day of this week was the 21st or 22nd. All right, looks like it was the 22nd. All right, there we are. All right, so as you guys can see here, lots of negatives there. And this week, unfortunately, the negatives just outweighed the positives here. And that is why we're currently down $68.41. So it is what it is. As the vendors have stated, this particular expert advisor does excel in trending markets, doesn't do as well in choppy up and down type markets, which is what we've been in here. But we will continue to let it run, because eventually those trending markets will return, and with them, our profits will return as well. All right, let me show you guys. Give me 1 second. All right, before we get into the information about the webinar that happened on Thursday that I mentioned in the previous video, I want to go ahead and take a look in the Edge Traders group here so we can see if there's anyone posting anything new. Actually, I think it was already on recent posts. So let's go ahead and check this out, and then we'll check out the Telegram group, because there are several updates there. As you guys can see here, this is the webinar replay. So if you guys are already in, you can definitely check that out, as well as getting access to the free book that they gave us there. All right. There again, the free book. And again, most people don't tend to update on losing weeks here, as you guys can see. And I think here is where we are at. This is June 21st. So let's go ahead and see what their account looks like after this week of losses here. This is the live G7 account. All right, so this week they lost 2.15%. All right, and at present, for the month of June, down 6.91%. So that gives you guys kind of an idea, since my FX Blue doesn't really show things as they really are. All right, drawdown 16.21%, win percent 50% for this week, and same for the month. All right, let's go ahead and jump over here and take a look in their Telegram group. All right, June 22nd, I believe that was Monday. Just make sure they didn't put out anything earlier. Nope. All right, they're just talking about the Thursday webinar here. G7 upgrade, unspoken laws of a Forex bank trader. All right, that talks about the individual that they partner with. And during this live 35-minute webinar, it was actually about an hour and 30 minutes, but there was a lot of good information there. And even though it was an hour and 30 minutes, excuse me, I'm going to give you guys the highlights, and we're going to go through it here momentarily, and hopefully we'll be able to compress that down into about 7 or 8 minutes, where I just give you guys the highlights of what I saw. All right. Plus, we're introducing an upgraded version of G7, lower stagnation periods, lower drawdown, increased profitability, more stability and diversification, simplified setup process. All right, very nice. Edge Trader's secret is here. Again, marketing for the webinar and the upgrade. And as we're getting closer to it, they're just trying to get people over there. All right, let me see if we have the MyFX book links for those. All right, so we got those here. So after we go through the webinar here, I'll show you guys through the MyFX book and also the back testing so we can take a look at what this new product has done. All right, and you can see here Titan G27. And if you guys are already in, you go into the back office, click on downloads, and you can see Titan G27 right there. And we will go over that again afterwards. Just want you guys to kind of get an idea what we're going to jump into here. All right. This week, obviously, we didn't have a whole lot of news. We can just jump through that relatively quickly. Not much to speak about there this week. All right. So with all that being covered, let's go ahead and jump in and see exactly what things are looking like with this webinar and with this new product. First and foremost, right over here, 625 webinar notes. New product is updated, Titan G7. If you guys recall, a few weeks or maybe months ago, they had talked about a product called Titan G8 that was going to be coming out, and that is what this product is. They did mention that as well. They just chose to call it Titan G27. It's a completely new trading system. Trend following, stays in minimal drawdown, stays in minimal positions in sideways markets, adding to winning trades in a strong trend. Very good thing. Embrace fat tail reward, cut off fat tail risk by closing losing trades quickly. Minimal number of simple trading rules tested on large historical data. Portfolio construction, trades 27 FX pairs and metals. High degree of diversification. All right, trade contra crowd based on market environment. Stays in small controlled drawdowns during low volatility, but can make significant adjusted return during high volatility trending markets. All right. And again, they showed the forward tests in the video, and I'm going to show you guys those momentarily and also the back testing as well. Let's see what else I got here. Easier setup, attach one chart, and it'll be able to trade on all 27 pairs. Somebody asked about leverage. 1 to 200 is good or more is better. Can you use any broker? Yes, admin is using LQDFX. All right, let's go ahead and jump in here real quick. And like I said, this is about an hour and 30 minutes, but I'm going to compress it. And I'm going to go over what I felt were some of the highlights of the system for you guys to hear for yourselves here. So let's go ahead and jump in.
That we could talk about, but if you have been analyzing, you can see that the market has been in a pretty much like a trending or like a ranging or a choppy market for a little while. And, good systems, they're going to struggle a little bit during these phases. And when the market starts trending, that's when these systems should do a lot better, right? So that's that. Now, talking about market phases, right? Momentum is the same thing as like a trending market, and mean reversion would be the same thing as like a ranging market, okay? A market that's just kind of going sideways, okay? The interesting thing about a trending market is that when you trade a trend, you're actually going to have a lower winning percentage versus trading in a choppy market. If you're trading in a choppy market or a sideways market, you're actually more than likely going to have a high winning percentage. The interesting thing about a trending or a momentum style of trading is that you'll actually, if you do it correctly, you can have limited risk, but you can have unlimited upside potential reward as long as the trend actually persists. The downfall with trading in a choppy market is that you can have unlimited risk and you can only have limited reward or profit potential. Okay. As far as long-term sustainability goes, in a momentum or a trending market, you'll actually lose most of the time, but will make up for the big because of, okay, so what does this mean? This basically means that in a trending style of trading, your winning percentage is going to be lower, but you're going to make up for it by having these big risk to reward style of trades where you're making, exponential reward to your risk, okay, which is the opposite of trading in like a choppy or a sideways market, okay? Now, who uses a trend trading system or a momentum trading system? This is what the smart money does, okay? Who trades a mean reversion or in a choppy market? This is what the herd does, okay? And if you read the Edge Trading Secrets book, it goes a lot more into depth into why this actually happens, but it has a lot to do with the herd psychology and not being able to weather, a month or 2 or 3 months of a flat market where you're not really making money, because most retail traders, they just want to make money every single day, or they want to make money every single week. And that's great and all until you blow your account, which we're going to talk about later on, okay? So in the book, he gives an example of a hypothetical example of what when he was working at the bank, is that this is what the banks, when he was working at the retail brokerage, he said this is what the brokerage would actually look like as far as their profit and loss statement. And this is what retail traders with the herds profit and loss statement would look like. So let's say, for example, on 7/2, okay, so July 2nd, profit and loss, negative $50,000 as the market is sideways, okay? This is where the institutions and the smart money is losing money, but the clients have a positive $60,000, okay? So the clients are making money and the brokerage is losing money. Now, this is an example of what's called a B-book broker, meaning that they trade exact opposites as the clients. Isn't that interesting, okay? Now, on 7/3, and you wonder, why are these B-book brokers so profitable businesses? Well, they just trade against the herd or the uninformed money, right? Now, moving on. Next day, the B-book broker loses $30,000 because the market continues sideways, but the clients realize another $45,000 in profit. So good for the clients, bad for the B-book or the smart money. Move on to 7/9. The market continues to move sideways. The broker's down another $40,000, but the clients realize another $55,000, okay? So overall, in this sideways market, the broker has lost a small amount of money and the retailer, the clients, have made a small amount of money. Now, the market burst out into a trend on July 10th in a strong up move. The broker makes $400,000 and the client sits in $450,000 in unrealized losses, which is basically drawdown, right? Interesting. As soon as a trend comes 7/11 or July 11th, the broker profits $650,000 as the market continues to go up, and the clients end up getting stopped out of their positions that they're holding on to, and they lose basically $600,000. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? By simply trading against what the herd or the sentiment of the herd is doing, B-book brokers are able to have extremely lucrative businesses. How many of you guys find this interesting? If this is interesting, you guys, give me a 777 in the chat box. If you guys are finding that this is like an aha moment for you, or if this is interesting to you, that, wow, like this is, holy crap, like nobody's ever put it out like this for me, or I've never seen it explained this way. It's eye-opening, right? Moving forward. The next thing he talks about in the book is smart money manipulation, okay? Retail traders, we've all been taught that we want to buy low or buy when it's cheap, and we want to sell when it's high or sell when it's expensive. And the challenge with this sort of thinking is that we're not trading with the trend. We're just trying to catch the bottoms or the tops of the marketplace, which can work in a sideways market. But once the market goes on a trend, like it always does, then that's where the herd loses their ass, okay? Excuse my language, okay? Now, another thing, support and resistance, right? How much have we been taught about support and resistance? Well, everybody's looking at support and resistance, and smart money knows that retail traders are...
All right, guys, I wanted you guys to hear that part. It basically talks about what we're seeing right now. Titan G7 is definitely an EA that excels in trends. Right now, we're not in a trending market, so we're having these little, I'm not even going to say little small losing months, but in comparison to our winners, it is, pretty small losing weeks and such. So hopefully, once things get back to a trending situation, we will see profits start to roll back in again. All right, let's jump forward here a little bit. And we can go to 2905. All right, here we go.
It is so important that you understand this. Listen, good long-term robust systems are very psychologically difficult to trade due to an unstable short-term balance curve in long drawdown periods. Most retail traders want profit every week or every day or every month, but the market will only pay a premium or an alpha to the traders who have the mental strength to trade difficult long-term and robust systems, and will punish traders who try to rob the market little profits every day or every week. The trading edge is not in the system itself, but in the trader's psychology and discipline to trade through months of stagnation with no result, but to still persevere and wait for the big trends, a quality that very few traders or investors actually possess. The reason that the crowd has been and always will lose at the trading game is that the sheer mental strength required to be a successful trader is higher than they could ever achieve. Now, just knowing that, how could you change your psychology, okay? Knowing that good long-term systems are psychologically difficult. I mean, it's difficult to see a system losing or stagnating for a month or 2 months or 3 months. That's difficult. How do you stick with it? Especially if you're paying a licensing fee and you're paying $150 a month. How do you have the psychology or the mental strength to stick to it? It's challenging. But if you want to be the very few who make the fortunes in the market, then you got to get that sort of mentality, okay? So here's the 10 keys to a Holy Grail trading system. Let's go ahead and get into it. Number one is a Holy Grail trading system, if there ever was such a thing, would embrace the tail reward and limit the tail risk, right? So we're going to catch.
All right, guys, like I said earlier, if you're already in, you can definitely come in and watch this replay. Lots of good information in it. Highly recommend everybody check it out. And I'll just go through these relatively swiftly so you guys can see. Cut losses short, let profits run. Let's see if we can get to number 4. All right, follow the trend. Number 5, scale into trend as the smart money does. Number 6, low win rate but high reward trades. 7, preserve capital for the long run. 8, watch out for extremely smooth balance curves. I think this is important for us to hear here. So let's jump into this one real quick.
Whether a ranging or a sideways market in order to make big money in the trending market, okay? Number 8, watch out for extremely smooth balance curves, okay? Look at this, or equity curves. Look at what's happening. This looks so beautiful. Man, like if I could just put my money in here, I'll put in $10,000. It's going to go up 600%, or it's going to go up, 600%. Man, I'm going to make, what 60 grand. Like, wow, I'm going to grow my money exponentially. And look, it's so beautiful. It's so pretty. And look, it's winning 75% of the trades. And look at the profit factor. It's 2.52 profit factor. Well, look, this is a prime example of a martingale, or an averaging system, or a grid system, or even a hedging system. This is a prime example of what happens. These sharp decreases in equity. Again, it's bound to happen. You're going to have these massive equity fluctuations, and it may look good for a while. I'm so guilty of this. I'm so guilty of this that I did this. I had grown one of my accounts by over 100%, and I'm so thankful that I got this information, got out of the martingale systems, because what happens next is, this is how the martingale systems or the averaging systems end up, okay? And I'll almost guarantee any single one, they'll absolutely do this. If you have a true edge, trading edge in the market, then you don't need to manipulate manipulate your position size in order to make it actually work. This is what happens when you do it. You may get lucky for a while, but eventually this is bound to happen to you. And it's very difficult to know when to get out of these systems. before this actually does happen to you, because it can happen at any time. The market's very random, okay? Are you guys following with me? Does this make sense? If this makes sense, give me a 111 in the chat box. Give me a 111 in the chat box if you guys are following. Okay, I really, if all I do, if you never buy a single product from us, I don't care. If this just saves you money down the road, if you're looking at other trading systems, then this will.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into number 9 here. Stable rising equity curve above balance curve. Let's go back a little bit here. All right.
Okay, if all I do, if you never buy a single, this just saves you money. So that's number 8. Number 9, what's a key component of a holy grail trading system? A stable rising equity curve above the balance curve. Now, this was interesting. I did not know this until we formed a partnership, until I read the Edge Trading Secrets book. But you actually want to look for a system where a majority of the time, the equity is actually above the balance curve. Now, what does that mean? It means the yellow line is actually above the red line. When you look on like MyFX book, for example, I think a lot of us are familiar with MyFX book. You want to look for a system that actually has a rising equity as a result of this. Now, also notice that this curve does not look as pretty as those martingale or gridding or hedging or those averaging systems. It doesn't look as pretty. It's psychologically much harder, but in the long term, you're going to be a lot happier because you're not going to freaking blow your account. Okay. So again, this is a key that you want to look for when you're analyzing any system. Okay. I don't care if you're analyzing competitor system, go ahead and look at their equity curve. What does it look like? Okay. Number 10 of a key component of a holy grail trading system is long periods of shallow stagnation followed by burst of profits, right? Again, look, what do we see happening constantly here? We see burst of profit, and then what do we see here? It's stagnating, okay? This kind of could look like G7, right? It's like up, it's down, but it's like kind of down a little bit, right? And it's this period where maybe it goes on for a month or 2 months, or heck, it could even go on for 3 months, and then boom, you have burst of profits. And it gets shallow and it's shallow. Look, it's been shallow for a while, and boom, burst of profits, right? Because the market goes from these ranging or sideways phases where you're just going to break even, or you're going to lose a little bit of money, or maybe you'll make a little bit of money, and then boom, when the trend hits, that's when good long-term robust holy grail systems will actually make money. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? Okay, now I just want to reiterate that.
All right, so hopefully that was some good information for you guys here. Let's jump into where he actually talks about the product itself, the new Titan G27 that's coming out, and that should be right around here.
And to partner with our partner that was a trader at the bank that wrote this book. He actually put together a system that we're very, very impressed with, and we fought, and to actually allow him to make this available to retail traders like our community. Okay, so introducing Titan G27 or Titan G27. Okay. This is a completely upgraded, revamped, completely new trading system that I think you're going to like. So let's go ahead and actually dive into it, okay? Now, what is the system edge behind Titan G27? Well, it's all the stuff that we talked about. It's going to, majority of the time, follow the trend. It's going to stay in minimal positions in a sideways or a choppy market. We are going to add to winning trades in a strong trend, just like the smart money does. It's going to cut off the fat tail risk by closing losing trades quickly, and it's going to embrace the tail reward, okay? It's going to have a minimal number of simple trading rules tested on large historical data, okay? One thing that we learned with the existing Titan G7 was that it was over-optimized, okay? It used a lot of different indicators to get into different trades, and it was over optimized where it worked amazing during a certain period of time. When you take it out of that time frame, it doesn't perform as well. Okay, so having simpler trading rules and a fewer number of trading rules will allow a system to actually become more robust, and that's just something that we learned from our partner that's the trader at the bank that developed the system. Okay, how does this work? What is the portfolio construction like? Okay, it's going to trade a total of 27 different Forex pairs and metals, including gold. Okay, it trades gold pretty heavily. A high degree of diversification allows for a more stable equity curve and high recoverability. Okay, it is going to trade contra crowd based on market environment. One of the cool things is that our partner was able to create a custom basically indicator that will read the overall market sentiment of what retail traders are doing and basically, for the most part, do the opposite, right? Which is, it's insanely cool, okay? This is not a common indicator. You can't buy that anywhere, but it is something that you'll notice that it'll trade against what the herd is actually doing. It stays in small controlled drawdown during low volatility, but can make significant risk adjusted return during high volatility trending markets, okay? So again, guys, be aware. During a ranging or a choppy market or a sideways market, the system may not make tons of money. You may make a little bit, and it may not lose, tons of money. It may lose a little bit, but during the trends is when we should see a big outbreak in profitability. Okay, execution reliability, cross-testing on different brokers. Data set must show similar profitable results. Strategies are not sensitive to slippage or server disconnections. Okay, this is one thing that we worked really hard on, is trying to make systems. The system make sure it was robust enough to trade across different brokers. We noticed with Titan G7 that people's results would vary greatly dependent upon their broker. So we went in to fix that. Okay, here's what the settings will look like. It's very, very simple. It'll look very similar to the existing G7. Almost exactly the same. There'll be a couple of different URLs that you're gonna.
All right, I think he's already given most of the information he's going to give. Let's just skip through this here. All right, forward testing results. We can take a quick look at what he has to say here, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the MyFX book links that they provided, and we'll also take a look at the backtesting link that he provided as well. Let's see what he has to say here real quick.
With a max drawdown of 9%. It's overall done, 29%. You can see here the winning percentage. It's not one of these huge winning percentage systems. It has a slight edge on the market, right? And what is the risk to reward? I mean, look at it. 204 pips is the average win. 178 pips is the average loss, right? Okay, so maybe a lot different. Has this working for our favor, which we know we're going to have around 3 times higher chance of being profitable just by putting this into our favor. Okay. So this is really good. Now, the interesting thing about this is that this is a fixed lot size. So this has just been trading at 0.01. So this would be considered, ultra conservative, right? This is considered ultra conservative. And I can pull up these FX books if you guys want me to, at the end of it, and just show you that. But I just took screenshots, so I can show you guys that if you want to. Now, this is another account that has been running for a little bit longer. This has been running from since February 3rd, I believe, or February 2nd is the first date. Overall, it's done 41%, and it's done 7.53% monthly with a drawdown of 5%. You can see it has one of those equity curves, again, where the yellow line's above the red line a lot of the time. And this is extremely conservative. This would be like a 0.01 per like $3,500. Okay, so it's very, very conservative, this trading system. And so you can set your risk however you want to. But you see, again, the average win's been 209 pips. The average loss has been 157 pips, right? And you see we have a 58 to 57% win ratio. Okay, so these are the forward tested results, which, by the way, how many of you guys think this is pretty good? How many of you guys are excited about these results? If you're excited about it, give me 111 in the chat box. It's going to move forward exactly. And the matter, you can see the average monthly. This is a 0.01 per 2,000. You see the max drawdown there as well. This would be considered conservative. This would be considered moderate. Okay, you can see.
All right, let me run through this real quick. And he talks about the setup. And then they do the Q&A. All right, so it looks like we're at about 28 minutes here. Let's go ahead real quick and check out the backtest results. As you guys can see, he was just talking about this. This is 0.01 lots per $1,000 in the account. Just want you guys to be able to see how it did during the back test. You can see a lot of green there, but there's also some red here. 0.01 per 1,500. Similar situation. Lots of green, plenty of red. You can see here 42%, 13, couple months where it's just 1.68, 1.82. 61%. All right, let's check out 0.01 per 2,000 in your account. All right. 64%. All right, so far 2020 here, you can see here January was down 6.91%, February above 16%, March 45%. All right, so very nice. 0.01 per 3,000. And again, this just means that it's only going to trade 0.01 lots per $3,000 in your account. All right, so hopefully this gives you guys an idea, and this will be made available to everybody. All right, now let's go ahead and check out those MyFX book links here. That's the book. That's the backtest results. All right, here's the real account, and here's the demo account. So they got two here set up for us. All right, so as you can see here, it's a real account with IC Markets. Deposit of $1,543. Current balance is $1,974. And as you can see, exactly what he was talking about in the webinar is happening here. The equity growth is actually above the red growth line here for a good majority of the time, which is very interesting. Before I joined that webinar, I really hadn't paid much attention to that. All right, we can come over here. That was from March, and this is from February here. So similar situation. Yellow line is above the red line for a great deal of the time that this has been trading. And you can see demo account IC Markets. All right, yeah. So I think that's everything I wanted to touch on with this. I gave you guys kind of an idea of what this new product is going to be about. And like I said, if you're already in, make sure you guys come here. Titan G27. It's already available for download. I will plan on maybe starting this next week. I'll have to get everything set up and get this downloaded onto the VPS. So hopefully come next week, we'll have the Titan G27 along with the Titan G7 set up. So that way we can kind of monitor them both at the same time. And if I set up something to manage the EA, I'll definitely make sure I go with MyFX Book instead of FX Blue this time. I didn't want to start these over again since I had already begun with FX Blue here. So I think this will be a good way for us to kind of see the differences between the two, Titan G7 and the Titan G27. There are a lot of things in place that are supposed to help us out and when the market is kind of just going sideways like it's been here recently. All right, guys, I want to keep this as short as possible. We're at 32 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and end it there. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to send them my way. Hopefully you found value in this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you want to get more information about Titan G27 or Titan G7, make sure you guys click the link below. All right, folks, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week on July the 3rd. All right, take care, folks.